If you crave the best in news, notes, and information in terms of Alabama football, you have landed in the right place with yours truly on In My Own Words, the podcast. Stephen M. Smith, University of Alabama, right now in week 3 of spring practice, preparing for its first scrimmage on this Saturday at Bryant-Denny Stadium. A lot of information going out, but in this edition of shows, we did get a chance to look at the quarterback battle, quarterback conversation, quarterback race, where Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa are concerned. Also, Nick Saban very proud of the progress being made by Tagovailoa with his left hand, his index finger on his left hand, being able to grip the ball, throw the ball, go through handoffs, able to do a lot more things in practice. Now, he has been put on a pitch count, according to Nick Saban, during Tuesday's presser, but the team very much so in high spirits about Tua being out there, being in practice, being engaged, having that positive mindset. The question will be, will he be able to go on the scrimmage? If he's able to go on the scrimmage, then that will really clear some things up about how will the reps be divvied out between all the quarterbacks. But right now, Nick Saban unsure as to whether he will participate in the scrimmage or not. The good thing is, folks, he's in practice, he's gripping the football, he's throwing it, he's feeling better, he is participating in the flow of things. And then last but not least, getting the chance to look at the experimental side of Nick Saban. He does this every spring, whether it's shifting guys on the offensive line, moving guys in the defensive line, getting guys looks at linebacker, wide receiver, running back, defensive back, what have you. Nick Saban loves to experiment. Just because you are put in a spot in spring does not mean that that will be your spot coming up in the fall, unless there is a need, which brings us to this topic right here. The potential replacements for Da'Ron Payne at defensive tackle, because defensive tackle, nose guard, nose tackle, that is a need. Da'Ron Payne moving on to the National Football League, the upcoming NFL draft, and a young man at 6'2", 308 pounds, a 3-year starter for the Crimson Tide from 2015 through this past season, who embodied everything needed to be embodied in terms of being a solid product on the defensive line. Da'Ron Payne, a former 5-star prospect, just a physical freak out of Shades Valley High School in Birmingham, Alabama. A leader in bench press, power clean, squatting, just a weight room workout warrior. I can only think of a couple of names that come to mind when you talk about guys that put their all in terms of keeping their body in tip-top peak physical condition. And I look at guys like Trent Richardson, Derrick Henry, Tony Brown, and Da'Ron Payne that were those workout warriors. Da'Ron Payne, an exceptional run stuffer, did a pretty good job in pass protection when he needed to. Quick feet, nimble footwork ability for a guy his size. And when you think about Da'Ron Payne, here's somebody that was the 2018 co-MVP of the All-State Sugar Bowl against Clemson, recorded an interception and a touchdown catch in that game, was also the co-MVP, most valuable player in the national championship game against Georgia, was also first team All-Southeastern Conference due to his performance last season, had 53 total tackles, 8 quarterback hurries throughout his career, 102 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 12 quarterback hurries. So you get my drift what I'm saying. You don't use the word replace in terms of Da'Ron Payne because of what he provided size-wise, leadership-wise, play on the field, leadership in the locker room, had all of the intangibles necessary to be on that defensive line at that defensive tackle position. Now, granted, Alabama doesn't run a lot of its base formation. It doesn't run a lot of its 3-4 sets. It doesn't run a lot of 3-4. only run a lot of that 3-4 regular formation when you're going up against teams like LSU and Arkansas that have different personnel packages, whether it's in the I formation where you're using 2 backs, or single back double tight end sets, or you're using a lot of that personnel that will cause for you to have that 2-gap defending defensive lineman that can plug up a lot of space, making it easier for your defensive ends, your linebackers, guys in that 2nd and 3rd level to converge and make the tackle. Alabama, more so than likely, 80 to 90% of the time in that nickel and dime package where you have more so of your fast guys. But be that as it may, you still need to find somebody, or you still need to find some potential prospects to fill the void left behind by Big Payne, and Alabama does have 5 guys in the battle that can do that. Of those 5 guys, you have Johnny Dwight, Phidarian Mathis, Stephon Wynn, Christian Barmore, Quinnen Williams, and Tavita Masika. Once again, my bad, 6 players, not 5. Those names: Johnny Dwight, Phidarian Mathis, Stephon Wynn, Christian Barmore, Quinnen Williams, and Tavita Masika. Starting this off with Johnny Dwight, redshirt senior out of Rochelle, Georgia. He's 6'3", 301 pounds, so an inch taller than Da'Ron Payne, but 7 pounds lighter. This past year, 9 tackles, 3.5 of those for loss and a sack. He was one of those guys that came into that 2014 class as one of the top interior defensive linemen, but was experimented at tight end some. Has a lot of experience on the defensive line, can play in that spot. Johnny Dwight right now, one of the leaders in the clubhouse. If Dwight does not pan out, then you got Phidarian Mathis, redshirt freshman out of Monroe, Louisiana, Neville High School. He's 6'4", 308 pounds. 2 inches taller than Da'Ron Payne, but the same playing weight at 308 pounds. Keep in mind, Mathis, number 37 on the ESPN 300 when he came in that 2017 class. 4-star prospect. In 2016, his last season at Neville High School, we're talking 41 tackles, 12 of those tackles for loss, and 6 sacks. And when I've been able to talk to various media pundits, players, different people around the program, I've heard he's cracking heads in practice. He's cracking heads. He's turning heads. He's making plays. He's defending well. He's got the pass rush moves. He can stop the run. He's one of those guys high in the mind of the coaching staff. Can he continue to do it and hold that weight and be that star and be that stud? Remains to be seen. But right now in spring, he's cracking heads. The first scrimmage for him this upcoming Saturday will be a huge deal for Big Phil Mathis moving forward, trying to implant his name more into the conversation. 6 names in this conversation, but for Big Phil Mathis to implant his name more, this first scrimmage imperative for both he and Johnny Dwight. At number 3, I look at the 2 true freshmen, Stephon Wynn and Christian Barmore. Both guys, great upside, strong talent, both very physical. Wynn at 6'4", 308 pounds, Barmore 6'5", 290 pounds, close to that 300-pound mark there. Wynn, from Anderson, South Carolina, was one of the nation's top defensive end prospects, a 4-star. Was also number 89 on the ESPN 300 upon coming into the 2018 signing class. And before transferring to IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida for his senior year, he spent the better part of his high school tenure at TL Hanna High School, 13.5 sacks, 23.5 tackles for loss there. Wynn an early enrollee, so he's gotten the gist of being a part of the offseason program with Scott Cochran. He understands, or has gotten the intel on, what Nick Saban wants to do, how he wants to do it, why he wants to do it. He's gotten in with the coaching staff where defensive coordinator Tosh Thepoy, defensive line coach Craig Kulagowski are concerned, and in the same manner of I mentioned about Phil Mathis and Johnny Dwight, this is huge for Stephon Wynn. When you look at the scrimmage and the A-Day game, because fans are going to get a chance to see how good he is, how talented he is, how special he is, how many reps can he really get with him being an early enrollee. Christian Barmore, I know he'll more than likely be at Alabama during the summer, coming up in May for summer workouts, fall camp, what have you. Once again, strong upside for him, but it will be a push for both freshmen. At number 4, and this is a name that's quickly rising in the eyes of coaches, Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams at 6'4", right now, 289, 290 pounds, the redshirt sophomore coming out of Winona High School in Birmingham. This is a guy that was compared to Jonathan Allen. Drew a lot of comparisons to Jonathan Allen. I remember before Allen went to the NFL draft in 2017, was part of the 2017 NFL draft, Jonathan Allen sat there and said that Williams is the next big-time physical freak, edge rushing, big playmaker on that defensive line for Alabama. And this past season, he showed some signs of that. 20 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, good for 4th on the team, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hurries. He was brought in as a defensive end, but if you pack on an extra 5 more pounds to Quinnen Williams, he can play in that defensive tackle position. He's got size. He's got quick hands. He can dissect the play. He's got a strong attack point in terms of finding the ball, dissecting where the play is going, tackling the runner in space, creating those tackles for loss, affecting the quarterback from an inside pass rushing perspective. Quinnen Williams has that intel. When you talk to different players about him, they talk about his speed, his acceleration, his quickness, his hand strike, his technique, his knowledge, and wanting to know more and glean more about the game, on the game, from the game. Took a lot of things from Da'Ron Payne. Took a lot of things from Dalvin Tomlinson. Took a lot of things from Jonathan Allen. Took a lot of things from Ryan Anderson and Tim Williams. Quinnen Williams absorbed a lot of things from the players ahead of him. And he's one of the guys that this coaching staff very high on this spring, very high on going into summer workouts, fall camp, in that defensive tackle nose guard position. And then last but not least, the junior college commitment that Bama got from College of San Mateo in California, Tavita Masika. And this is a guy right here at 6'2", 330 pounds, according to his Huddle account. When you watch film on him, former Alabama players, these are the names that jump out at me as far as former standouts are concerned when you watch Masika's film. Nick Gentry, Dalvin Tomlinson, Jesse Williams. Those are the 3 names that jump out to me. I'm not going to put Terrence Cody in that situation because I feel like that's a huge expectation, right? That's just a larger than life expectation. But Jesse Williams, Nick Gentry, Dalvin Tomlinson, I see all 3 of those when I look at Masika's film. And judging Masika, this is what I see. I see a guy that's an exceptional 2-gap defender. He can 2-gap defend. He can stop the run. He can dissect the play. Number 2, as I mentioned, good run stuffer. Has a way of being able to rip, swim inside. He can rush the quarterback when needed, but has to get quicker with his first step. Needs to improve that footwork. His footwork in his first step a bit slower. A bit lethargic. Got to improve the crispness of his footwork where that first step is, boom, exploding, trying to get to the quarterback and collapsing that pocket. One of the things, though, that he's really good at, he has a knack for creating turnovers. If you watch a lot of his film, you see his hands, his ability to swim down, pop the ball out, forced fumbles on a running back. He's able to get back to the play. If there's a screen to a running back, a screen to a receiver, he's able to get back to the play, use his hands, swat the ball, knock the ball out, force a turnover. And even in his attempts of getting to the quarterback, if he is out of the play, he has the ability to work himself back into the play late, sack the quarterback, and have the wherewithal to knock the ball out as he's creating those strip sacks. And what's the one big thing that Nick Saban loves about his defensive linemen? Their ability to create turnovers in critical moments. Get that ball back to your offense in key situations. That's what Tavita Masika can bring you. Creating those turnovers, having a knack to get those negative plays, and also that ability to collapse the pocket. So he reminds me of Nick Gentry and that motor that he has. He reminds me of Jesse Williams and having those big hands, but more likely than not, his ability to affect the passer, his ability to not give up on the play and create negative plays, that goes along the lines of Dalvin Tomlinson. So it's a six-man battle right now. Johnny Dwight, Fadarian Mathis, Christian Barmore, Stephon Wynn, Quentin Williams, and Tavita Masika in replacing or trying to fill the void left behind by Da'Ron Payne. We'll see what happens as spring ball continues. Alabama first spring scrimmage this Saturday. The A-Day game coming up on April 21st. We go to another break here. Final break here. This edition, in my own words. When we come back, we dive into the first edition of the Ask Steven segment. We go into the mailbag. We will have this queued up for this Friday, but going to the mailbag, answering your questions via Twitter, via social media on what you want to see, thoughts that you have in terms of Alabama football. Don't touch that dial, folks. We'll be right back. It's your boy, Stephen M. Smith, host of In My Own Words, the podcast. If you are a fan of this show, then I encourage you to subscribe to the Touchdown Alabama Magazine YouTube channel. Also follow the brand on Facebook, Twitter, and other forms of social media as we continue to bring you the best in Alabama football and Crimson Tide athletics.